The second one is a rather large one, and you do have a memo attached to your information there regarding it. There are two of the classrooms at Mohegan that are considered interior classrooms. They don't have an outside wall. So their mechanical condenser is on the roof instead of being along the outside wall of it. So it's designed a little differently. So as part of replacing all the mechanical equipment, those two condensers on the roof also need to be replaced. So it's slightly different. When we did the multi-purpose room cafeteria infill several years ago, that's what made those on an inside wall. So this is just replacing those. The old condensers, I guess, could stay, but they're well past their useful life. They're 20 some years old. So we didn't want to leave two pieces of old equipment there. That's what this change order is for.
So we weren't aware that they were on the roof when we bid it?
It's an omission. It should have been
Oh.
picked up with the original documents. It was caught when we started looking at it. We realized there was a couple pieces of equipment that weren't picked up on it.
Okay.
There were some other pieces that weren't intentionally put on there that were in the more recent edition. And I think the engineer just assumed those might have been feeding the newer cafeteria. They didn't realize that those were feeding those two classrooms there.
Okay.
So it was caught here about a month or so ago.
All right.
The next two are somewhat actually related to what you're going to be looking at tonight in the board meeting. Tonight, you've got the recommendation for the renovations of the office space at Mohegan and the office space at the second floor. The glazing contractor had some of their glass that was being done for the renovations already. So they had some credits and ads for that. So this actually tie bars with that other project. So if for some reason tonight you decide not to do that office renovation, we would not move forward with these two change orders. But this was one we couldn't bid out because it was already part of their existing contract. They just had some existing glass that was being upgraded to the school guard glass, that impact resistant glass, and rating the glass because of the change of the layout. So we had some added and credits that netted out to those two things. The second to last one there is interior signage. We have a student that's visually impaired. They'll be starting at Algonquin, and Algonquin being the oldest middle school, the signage there doesn't meet today's current standards for Braille. So this is going to upgrade all the signage throughout that building for Braille to help that student for the next couple of years while they're there.
It's part of the ADA?
It's an ADA requirement. I believe that student looked at a couple different middle schools. They felt Algonquin fit their needs the best, probably because it's a smaller building. It's easier to get around. It's very user-friendly to get around, but it's got old signage. If it was at Wyandotte or Seneca or Iroquois, I believe all those have newer signage. Algonquin just had old signage we've never touched, so this will change out that signage to help out that student.
Did you say something about a railing?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm sorry, I got the mask on. I'm trying to. And let's see, the last one here is over at Erie Elementary School. Erie has two chillers on the roof. One's an older one, one's a newer one. The old one is at its end of its life, needs to be replaced. The new chiller, just as manufacturers change things, it's just like your iPhone, everything goes a little differently. The new mechanical unit is slightly larger than the old one, just by about a couple inches, but it won't fit on the existing steel that's up there. So we need to add a little bit more reinforcing steel to stretch out that, so the new unit's sitting firmly on the new steel. And this was something that was discovered once they started looking into it and realized the new chiller was slightly larger than the old chiller. There wasn't an option for another chiller that would have been small enough that would have met the needs for the building. So this is to add that steel for that chiller that's going to be placed over this summer. So all in all, it's about 25 grand. We're still looking very well. If you look at the two percentages in the bottom, you still got over 94%, almost 95% of our contingency left. That's pretty good going into our third summer of construction over here. So we're very comfortable that we'll be able to do it. And some of this is going to be tie barred to what you're going to see at the board meeting tonight, using some of these savings for some additional projects.
Okay. All right.
So I'll be back here in a week or 2 weeks to present the rest. Yes.
Just to clarify, Jeff, the structural support is at Algonquin or Erie?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Sure. No, Erie is where the steel's at.
Okay, so what this says is the steel is at Algonquin. I think we have the last two buildings flipped.
Oh.
Which we'll correct for the board meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I had a different version of it. Yes, yeah, correct. The signs are for Algonquin, the steel is for Erie. We'll get that corrected before it comes to the full board. Thank you, Scott. be able to give you back a few minutes of your time. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Can you open this
Yeah,
one?
Thanks,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Jeff.
All right, and we have no other items,
I may have to go to the
unless
bathroom.
any of you have questions. If not, then we can adjourn this.
Yeah, we adjourn. I don't think we're all.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we'll adjourn this committee meeting at 6:14.
Schools Board of Education meeting for June 7th, 2021. Please stand for the pledge. We're going to have the flag up here on our screen. I pledge allegiance Okay, thank you and welcome everybody to our Board of Education meeting for the evening. Moving to item B, additions and deletions. I have none this evening. C, recognition presentations. Mr. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Bednard. We're going to start the meeting a little bit differently tonight. We learned today that a longtime district employee, 27 years with the district, and plans to retire this year, passed away. Her name is Beth Gleason. She's a school social worker, and most recently she served at Huron Elementary. And she's very, very highly respected in our school district, not only as a person, but also as a social worker and her skill in doing her job. So we'll just take about 30 seconds here of silence, please. Okay, thank you. For our presentations this evening, I just want to talk a little bit about, and let's see if we can get this going here. Oh, sorry. Always important to turn it on. Okay, so, at the end of the year here, I'm just going to have a little recap of some things at the end of the year, which are standouts. And I think things which represent our school district very well. So I think in the area, our district leads in so many ways. I think of the quality of programs, the number of programs, the opportunities that we provide for students. And I think this was very much in evidence during this weekend as we went through our commencement exercises with our approximately 1,250 seniors. And this year certainly posed challenges for us. But in spite of that, we really still had wonderful programs in place, and our students benefited from them. Here's an example that's really very different, that's recent. I can get this to advance. There we go. This represents the length to which teachers worked to keep things as normal as possible and to provide opportunities for students. And I'll start with the Seneca Choir. This was an email that the principal of Seneca received from someone who lived in Victoria, British Columbia. And you can see here, this person was baking in their kitchen and looking for a virtual concert. And Seneca Middle School, it says junior high here, Seneca Middle School popped up, and she sent a congratulatory note to the teachers. And I'd just like to show you just a brief portion of what these teachers put together working with their students under very difficult circumstances. So, should I forward on this, Sarah, or yeah? Oh, did I go? I kind of went too far. I think I did something wrong. Can you get me back? There we go. Something else that's really exciting that's occurring right now is we have teachers in our school district. Valerie Carr, Anthony Lewis, and Juliana Lewis are in the throes of a book drive right now, because what they're attempting to do is to have books donated by district staff so that every first grader next year would receive a book at the beginning of the year, and it would be inscripted on the inside by the person who donated it. So this is all in their own time. This is just something to promote reading in our school district. And then also, can you advance that? Sarah, I'm not having too much luck here. Okay, this also is something that's gone on recently in our school district, which is always happens this time of year. It's all about scholarships. And we have thousands and thousands of dollars that are provided to our students in scholarships. Some are through private companies, other through organizations. On the left here, I believe, is Kiwanis, an organization I love because of the extent to which they work for our community and raise money, and then they just donate it everywhere in the community. And I think to our students this year, the Kiwanis in scholarship dollars donated $12,000, which is pretty remarkable. And students from the International Academy, Dakota High School, and Chippewa Valley High School were awarded with scholarships. Also, you see on the right, we have a Dakota senior, Jennifer Jaster, who was awarded a $5,000 scholarship from the Choice Credit Union. So we have scholarships that are done by organizations within our district, and we also have scholarships that are in memory of people who have worked for us, most likely, and have passed on, and families set up scholarships. So that's a wonderful thing for our kids. And also, on the next slide, Sarah, please, we have Dakota, through their design and engineering program, has become a Solid Works certification center, and that goes with design and engineering. And you can see here is one little statistic, 84% of our students pass the industry standard certification exam. And this is a national exam, which kids can then find themselves in a database for having certain skills for employment. So that's through design and engineering, which is housed at Dakota. And as you know, kids from Chippewa would sign up for that and then go there to take those classes. Also then, each year, Channel 7, XYZ, offers the brightest and best, and we have our two students this year selected for this. On the left is Taylor Burnham from Dakota High School. These kids are so involved in serving their schools. She was on a link crew, an organization called She's the First. She's vice president of the Key Club. She's a National Honor Society secretary. And in the middle of all that, she managed to keep her grades up to be summa cum laude with a grade point average of 3.9 or higher. And she will attend U of M. That's Taylor Burnham on the left. She wants to be a writer. And on the right, we have, I have to look at my names here, Ava McDonald from Chippewa Valley High School. And she's in Key Club, Girls Swim, National Honor Society Student Council, vice president of the School Writers Club. She took 13 AP courses, and she will attend Georgetown University. So that is, to me, is very remarkable, and it just reflects the kind of opportunities we provide for our students in school. There was two good examples, one through CTE and design and engineering, and these through our standard curriculum, taking advanced placement courses and the kind of opportunities kids can have. And if we move on, I can't see if one on that slide got changed on me. Oh my gosh, I went too far in my own little hard copy here. You know, in my commencement speech, I talked about a famous quote from Winston Churchill saying, never waste a good crisis. And we've had some really difficult times this year. I would say we were in crisis mode, and our crisis was not wasted. I think we're making a big technological step next year by having a one-to-one computer platform within our school district. So every student in our school district will be issued a school district computer for use, which is something we've always wanted, but the circumstances presented themselves this year that we're able to go forward and do this. So that we're very proud of. And this year, this slide represents what we've done this year of trying to return to normal, which is something we focused on all year. And lately, many good things have happened. You can see here, we've been able to make some progress in how our protocols we follow, and we're really looking forward to next school year as things continue to improve to opening and operating as we traditionally do. So we're very excited about the possibility of that for next year. And Sarah, you can move forward. So this was, I mentioned previously, this is some of our graduations that occurred just yesterday and Saturday. We had 2 graduation ceremonies for Chippewa Valley High School and 1 for Mohegan High School. And we had 3 yesterday for Dakota. And the one thing that always excites me at these things is just understanding the diversity, not only of our student body, but also of the programs we offer. We had 1,250 students graduate, and 32 of those were from Mohegan High School. And I really was moved by a speech that our valedictorian from Mohegan wrote and read. And I just want to read a couple of short snippets from it, because I think it just speaks to the importance of the programs we offer in meeting students' needs. So she's speaking of Mohegan, and she talked of her life, and she was a high-achieving student, but she kind of hit a place in her life that other things interfered with that. And she left our school district and went to an online program, and she realized that was not for her. So then she, through a friend, heard of Mohegan High School. So here is just a couple sentences. My first week there, I knew it was the best choice I could have ever made for myself. The staff and students were so welcoming and understanding, and they really took the time to get to know me, especially the teachers. Every single teacher I had at Mohegan always cared about what was going on in my day-to-day life more than any homework assignment. Then she goes on to say, without Mohegan, I wouldn't even know what I would do in life, because I never would have taken the time to think about it. This staff and environment has made me see myself from a different perspective, and I'm so grateful there wasn't any pressure or expectations to get in the way of that. And her speech was quite moving. She graduated, and I think her future is bright, because at Mohegan she was really allowed to find herself. That's what worked for her. So congratulations to that student. And then this year we have many retirees, and under the circumstances, it's been hard to recognize them all the way they deserve to be recognized. I managed to get around to all the school buildings, but still, we didn't think it was quite enough. So we're just going to take a few minutes here, and we have a video presentation of our retirees. So if you have some water, enjoy your water, because it's this is going to take more than a few minutes, but it's all worth it. The years that these people have dedicated to our school district is remarkable. I know that was a little bit long, but I thought each and every one of those people deserved more than just a second on a screen. Next year, it's a lot of talent and a lot of experience that leaves us. I think every person on that little video presentation deserves special recognition. But we have a teacher leaving us from Wyandotte with 49 years of teaching at middle school. We also have a hall monitor from this school leaving us with 34 years. 34 years, that was their job, working in the halls of Chippewa Valley High School. And I just think this community, we here, owe a great deal of debt to these people for their service to our school district. So we'll fill the holes next year, and we'll start the next group that'll stay here 35 years. So that's very exciting too. So congratulations to all those people that were recognized in that video, and we'll send that out to the staff. So, and with that, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Comments from the board?
You know, I can't, wait, okay. I always say this, and it's really true. I know a lot of those people. I mean, my kids had them, and I've been on the board for 25 years, and I always think how young they look compared to me to be retiring. And but our district is a great district despite our challenges this year, and the people that were on that screen helped to make it a great place, along with all the parents in our district and our community members. So I'd like to wish them all a long and healthy retirement. It's just a shame to hear about Beth Gleason. It's hard to believe and very sad, but I wish the rest of them well and a long and healthy retirement. That's all.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, on behalf of the board, we thank them and we wish them the best in their retirement. Thank them for their endless dedication to our students and our community. Okay, we will move on. Mr. Roberts, there's nothing else on presentations today? Okay. Move on to D, general consent agenda. Can I have a motion?
Move.
Moved by Ms. Aquino,
I'll support.
supported by Ms. Dr. Andresko.
Mhm.
Anything on the consent agenda anybody like to move or pull for further discussion, questions? Okay, hearing none.
Mr. President, you just said anything on the agenda to change?
For the consent agenda.
Anything you
Oh,
want to
okay,
move?
I'll wait.
Thank you. Okay, hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, Ms. Biden, please?
Sure. Ms. Aquino,
Yes.
Dr. Andriashko,
Yes.
Mr. Bednar.
Yes,
Ms. Demink Zak,
Yes.
myself, yes. Mr. Vojtovich.
Yes.
Ayes all, motion carries.
thank you. Okay. We have 4 specific, I believe, retirement resolutions, Ms. Biden, for the record.
We do. We have one consolidated resolution for all 4 of those retirees. Where Sharon Bogu, Rosemary Gomeni Samyak, Catherine Ohenan, and Nancy Doperala have served the Chippewa Valley School District faithfully and diligently for a period of 27 years as a paraprofessional, 28 years in the parapro and clerical units, 22 years in the clerical unit, and 20 years as a paraprofessional respectively. Where Sharon Bogu, Rosemary Gomini Samyak, Catherine Ohonen, and Nancy Doperala, through their leadership, have had a positive impact on the staff, students, and the community. Whereas Sharon Bogu, Rosemary Gomini Samyak, Catherine Ohonen, and Nancy Doperala, conscientious, loyal, hardworking employees, have elected to retire. And whereas Shannon Bogu, Rosemary Gomini Samyak, Catherine Ohonen, and Nancy Doperala will be missed by all their school colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District, not only on their behalf, but also that of the Superintendent of Schools and the administration, extend their thanks and appreciation for a job well done, as well as best wishes for the future. Be it further resolved that this resolution, having been adopted by the Board of Education of the Chippewa Valley School District on the 7th day of June, 2021, be made a permanent part of the records of the school district, and a copy sent to Sharon Boguth, Rosemary Gomini Samyak, Catherine Ohonen, and Nancy Doperala as an expression of our appreciation. We certainly wish them the best and recognize what a contribution these support professionals have made in their collective 97 years of service.
Thank you.
Mr. President, is
Square.
the new hire Taylor, are they here this evening so they can be recognized and welcome to our district? No? Well, either
Not
way,
present.
welcome.
Not present.
Pardon? Yeah, welcome to our district, Taylor Arnhammer, who was hired tonight for a school psychologist.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Move on to E, old business. We have none this evening. F, new business. F1. Approved change order summary report, April 2021. Mr. Sutherland.
Recommended motions that the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education approve the 2018 bond issue change order summary report for the month of April 2021.
Motion
Move.
by Ms. Aquino,
I'll support.
Supported by Dr. Andriasco. Rationale, please.
This work consists of changes to existing contracts for the purpose of owner-requested work, deducts, code compliance, or hidden conditions on the construction and equipment projects. All amounts are within the contingency budget allocation. This report was reviewed with the Building and Site Subcommittee on Monday, May 17, 2021, and funding will come from the 2018 Building and Site Fund.
Questions or comments by the board? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Pyden, please.
Ms. Aquino,
Yes.
Dr. Andriashko,
Yes.
Mr. Bednar,
Yes.
Ms. Demink Zak,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Vojtovich.
Yes.
Ayes all, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to F2, award contract bid pack 3B, Seneca Electrical Work, Mr. Sutherland.
The recommended motions of the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education award contracts totaling $53,225 to the following contractor for the summer 2021 electrical renovations at Seneca Middle School.
Motion, please.
Move.
Moved by Ms. Aquino,
I'll support.
supported by Mr. Demink Zak. Rationale.
This project will consist of replacing the gym lighting and stadium scoreboard at Seneca Middle School. The bids received are within the budget allocation identified for the 2018 bond issue program. The work is scheduled to start in the summer 2021. This information was reviewed with the Building and Site Subcommittee on Monday, May 17, 2021.
Questions or comments by the board?
Mr. Bednar, I have a question.
Ms. Pyden.
Have we used the state group previously?
No, we haven't. This is a new contractor to us, so we brought them in for a post-bid review and checked their references. The main project manager for them has done work for another companies that we've worked with, so there's some familiarity with them. But no, they've not been awarded a contract in Chippewa Valley before.
Do we know why their bid is so significantly less than the other contractors?
No, I did ask them the question. That's why we brought them in, to make sure that they had everything covered. We did check out for the lighting. We made sure that they provided the specified lighting systems and asked them to provide the information from that. They've got the Lithonia light fixtures that are specified. For the scoreboard, we made sure they had the Dectronic scoreboard that we've specified. So they've got the right materials that we've asked for. So they did check out on that. They also have the protection that they need to and the restoration that's required. So we brought them through, did the due diligence that we could, and they reassured us that they had everything covered.
Had they provided us with any references that they had done other municipal work, particularly for school buildings?
Not really. He did it in his previous job when he worked. He did a lot of school work for us, especially over at Utica schools. But they hadn't done any work here in the district. They're primarily a automotive is what their big business is right now. So they do have some downtime with the way the automotive is. So that's why they're trying to pick up some school work. So we're getting somewhat of an advantage for another market that's down right now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments by the board?
I have a question.
Mr. Vojtovich.
This is for the gym lighting, right?
Correct,
Now,
yeah.
is this to change out just the lights or the wiring to also?
There'd be some wiring also for it, yes. And the controls, the switching with it too.
So is it all the wiring or just part of the wiring?
It would be, everything from the light switch back would be, light switch back to the panel would remain, but everything from the switch forward to the fixture would be replaced. These will be LED light fixtures now. The current fixtures that are in there are not LEDs.
Okay, thank
So
you.
these will save energy also for the district in the long run.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments by the board? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Pyden, please.
Ms. Aquino,
Yes.
Ms. Demink Zak,
Yes.
Dr. Andriashko,
Yes.
Mr. Bednar,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Vojtovich.
Yes.
Ayes all, motion carries.
Thank you. F3, award contracts, bid pack 3B, administration, Mohegan office renovations. Mr. Sutherland.
The recommended motions of the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education award contracts totaling $168,106 to the following contractors for the fall 2021 renovations at the Administration Building and Mohegan High School.
Motion, please.
I'll move.
Moved by Dr. Andriasco,
Support.
Support by Mr. Mixek. Rationale, please.
This project will consist of office renovations at the administration building and Mohegan High School with the additional technology staff needed for the one-to-one computer initiative. The project will be funded by bid savings from previous 2018 bond program construction costs. The work is scheduled to start in the fall 2021. This information was reviewed with the Building and Site Subcommittee on Monday, May 17th, 2021.
Questions or comments by the board?
Everything looks in order.
And again, just because of going to one-to-one, we needed increased space to have our help desk and some of our
House some
technicians
of our
work.
new-
So we had rearranged some of our office spaces, created a new space for some of those new technicians. Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Pyden, please.
Dr. Andriaschko,
Yes.
Ms. Demink
Yes.
Ms. Aquino,
Yes,
Mr. Bednar.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Vojtovich.
Yes.
Ayes all, motion carries.
Okay, F4, reconfirm the extended COVID-19 learning plan. Mr. Roberts.
Recommended motion that the Chippewa Valley Schools Board of Education reconfirm the extended COVID-19 learning plan for the 2020-21 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Pyden,
support.
support by Ms. Aquino. Rationale, please.
This is a requirement of Public Act 149. It must be done on a monthly basis.
Questions or comments by the board?
So this is just until the last day of school, correct?
Hopefully, this is the last time we'll ever have to do this.
Yes, that would be
Right?
one.
Gets us through 6 more days.
I have one, Mr. President.
Mr. Wojtovich.
With everything going on, I've given this a lot of thought. And I guess we now have plenty of research and data to show that masks don't do anything to prevent the spread of this virus. This, along with the claims that have been used to say masks work, they've long been debunked, or every day seems to be proven to be false or fake. The masks that most people are using actually increase the spread, or at a minimum, helping the sick stay sick longer. This is just a little bit of facts here. The toxic CO2 levels due to these masks are very unsafe, causing headaches, increasing the heart rate, and causing nausea. The masks have caused people to have heart attacks, even in young people. Also, masks can reduce our oxygen by up to 20%. Wearing a mask 8 to 10 hours a day is against OSHA law. Most people don't realize that. This has been in place since 1979. This law makes it illegal for anyone to wear a mask in a workplace until they have a medical evaluation. This is why they have the OSHA respiratory standard. I'm pronouncing that wrong, but please forgive me. Among many things, it tasks the cardiopulmonary system. When you deprive the body of oxygen, it hurts the immune system and it causes cancer to thrive, and it increases the CO2. Knowing this, I want to put forth a motion and ask this board for the last week of school just to take a vote and give these kids a little bit of freedom and make masks a choice.
Okay, thank you. Further comments or questions by the board?
I-
Mr. Bednar, I just have a point of order.
Yep.
And we already have a motion on the floor, which needs to be dealt with before any further motions.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to see if there's any further comments or questions by the board on the motion at hand.
I have a question, Mr. Wojtovich.
Anybody?
I just wondered, I understand that there are facts that say that, but what I'd like to know is, has anyone on this board been operated on in a hospital, or anybody in the audience, that doctors and nurses were in surgery for many hours a day, taking care of people? Excuse me, I'm speaking now. You're not. But I would, oh, excuse me, sir, I appreciate that we have an orderly. My only point is, if you trust them to do a long surgery on you or a loved one, then I guess you better check their oxygen levels before, if you're not worried about them operating on you. And people working in hospitals, our students are not in school 8 to 10 hours a day. And the only reason that 5.5 more days of school, another change and another disruption is not what we need at this point. Call it to order.
Okay, thank you.
People, can we keep this civil?
Folks, you will have your
Don't even.
point of order, folks. You'll have a chance here during the community to talk to the board, and we expect, that you would let us speak, and we're not going to interrupt you either. So,
Did he put a formal motion in?
those comments were by Ms. Aquino. Okay,
Frank.
that Ms. Aquino was speaking.
Frank, can I say
correction.
one thing? I put forth the motion not to
You can't.
raise a ruckus, so please, everybody, can we just handle business?
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So is he trying to table the one we have?
No, we're going to vote on the COVID learning plan for 2020,
Okay.
2021. If there's no further comments or questions. Okay, roll call vote, Ms. Pyden, please.
Okay, and to be clear, this motion is on the COVID-19 learning plan alone.
Yes,
That is
correct.
correct.
Okay. Myself, yes. Ms. Aquino,
Yes.
Dr. Andriashko,
Yes.
Mr. Bednar,
Yes.
Ms. Demink Beck,
Yes.
Mr. Vojtovich.
No.
5-1, motion carries.
Doesn't even talk about masks.
Okay. Okay, very good.
But that's what we need to do. Actually, I believe them. I had it saved.
Okay,
Okay, let's,
next on the agenda is from the community. So we'll be hearing from our community members today. Just wanted to mention a few things at the outset, the rules that we have for public participation, and I've been reading them since the COVID began, and today is no exception. We all hope here on this board too that this is the last meeting we'd have to have masks on for. We agree with that, but as a board spoke, we're not looking to finish the school year as we have been. So, I'm sorry. Oh, good. Yeah, it's excellent. I think we all are. All right. So this is how it goes. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 5 minutes duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No persons may address or question board members individually. Complaints against identifiable school personnel may not be expressed in an open meeting. Such complaints should first be submitted in writing to the board and aired in open or closed session according to the wish of the person involved. The presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Request any individuals to leave the meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum. Request the assistance of law enforcement and the removal of disorderly persons when the person's conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. Call for a recess or an adjournment to another time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such action. Waive these rules when the approval of the board, when necessary for the protection of privacy and administration of the board's business. So those are the rules. And I could say that, through this whole pandemic, we've had a very orderly meeting. We've had very respectful comments by our community members, whether it was, whatever side they were on. It's been very good. And I'd like to continue that way. I know I will say on the district's behalf that we did have a meeting with 4 of the representatives last week from our district parents that were out there, and it was a very good meeting. We very much appreciate them taking the time to meet with us so we could kind of tell them some of our feelings, and they were able to explain theirs right back to us. And that was a great meeting. So I want to thank them again for that on behalf of the board. I did brief the board on what our meeting consisted of with the folks that were wanting the mask removed. I know that in this crowd, a number of people are not district parents, that they come to support the cause of masking the children, and that's respectful. I understand why I'm be here. But we are working with our district parents. We allow everybody to speak, whether you're from our community or not. But I just want to tell the public out there who is watching this meeting that a lot of these parents that are going to speak are not district parents. I would ask that if you so choose, when you come to speak, you could tell us if you are or not a district parent, so we know who's speaking to us and who's here for maybe other reasons. So, all right, with that, we will start. I will give you a 1 minute. I will give you a 1 minute warning. It's 5 minute speech, so at the 4 minute mark, I'll interrupt real quick and just say you got 1 minute to wrap it up. Okay. Okay, first off this evening is Miss Kamirchek. Or Gene Kamirchek. I'm sorry, Mr. Kamirchek.
Good evening. I've addressed the board a few times now, even pre-COVID, so I'm familiar with this. Usually I have prepared words, but I thought today it was better to speak more from the heart to you guys. I've talked a lot in my other speeches about communication, and it's working with you, the board, the administration, the parents, the teachers, the kids together. And I feel the communication has lacked, and I still feel that way. All of you on that board within the last 2 weeks received an email from me about a situation within the school. Administration also received an email about the situation in the school. I did receive a response from the administration, but not one single board member reached out. It's a topic that, as evidenced by everyone here tonight, is a hot topic. I was in my daughter's building picking her up for a doctor's appointment, and I witnessed 2 different staff members not wearing a mask. Now, I understand that there are reasons why a staff member might not have a mask on. They could be in their office by themselves. They could be medically required not to wear a mask. After receiving what I felt was a canned response from the administration via email about basically I didn't give enough information, which I find hard to believe because I never named the school, my student's name, or the person that I saw not wearing masks. They knew who sent it. They knew who my student was. The staff who I had observed knew that I sent a complaint about it after my wife had talked to her on the phone. And they were able to come back and say that we've addressed it through an email. And I asked if we could talk further about it. The reason why I wanted to talk further is I felt that what was said was just a bunch of excuses. Now, I asked in my email to not have an apology. I don't want just an I'm sorry. We're all human. We make mistakes. The bad part is, as educators, you guys do have our trust as parents for the education and safety of our children, probably for more hours of the day than I actually see my kids because I'm at work. And yes, you guys are held to a higher standard. So I understand mistakes are made. When I actually talked to the staff member, it was immediate of my desk is 12 feet away from my door. I've done everything I can to have chairs out of my office, have virtual meetings. After excuse, after excuse, after excuse, it was finally, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I'm human. The problem is there was another staff member present in their office. That staff member was wearing a mask. And we hear it, we're gonna hear it today, I'm sure. How many times a day our kids are reminded to wear a mask? Pull up your mask, pull up your mask. Why wasn't the staff member also reminded that they weren't wearing a mask at that time? Is there a double standard out there? I feel bad because I know my words in my email to administration, and I feel bad to administrator that I had an email exchange with that maybe thought it was coming down a little harsh, and it's not. I do respect them because one of the times I've addressed the board pre-COVID, that administrator actually came up to me at another board meeting and thanked me for my concern. And it was a concern that has to deal with the teacher and board and administration you know, the way you guys work in contracts. It wasn't, you know, a necessarily negative thing, or as a concern I had as a parent, and they were very respectful of coming up to me, and I have a lot of respect for admin. But the problem being is, as a rational person, I can't get it out of my head that I was in a school building for 4 minutes. I've only been in a school building twice in the
I'm
last year
sorry,
and a half.
Mr. Kraft, just 1 minute.
1 minute.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
How can it be that in that 4 minutes, I observed this happening? Not one of you have emailed me back on this board. We've had board members walk off the stage because other board members pulled their mask down as they're talking, yet none of you reach out to us. You say you talk to other parents in the district. There's a lot of us. You talk to 4, there's 15,000 kids. 4 parents aren't gonna be opinion. Second thing I wanna talk about real quick, and I will try to keep it really brief. We've had 11 board meetings now this week, and I've emailed you guys about this too. 1 board member has been absent now, counting today, 6 of the 11 board meetings. That board member has been emailed by me personally and does not respond. What is that board member doing? I know you guys can't do anything punitive, but you can speak as a board against that member as a group. Ask them to please participate in their duty that they've been elected for, and or that person, if they're really meeting a tough time with their work schedule, which I find hard to believe based off of what they have listed as their job on public social media, can't make it to board meetings. They made a special board meeting, but they can't make the last 3 regular scheduled board meetings. Don't sit here and keep saying it's about the kids, it's about what's best, because the actions aren't there. Not one of you have ever emailed me after I've spoken. You've replied to some of my emails, and I thank you, but like I said, it's probably the 5th time I've spoken to this board, and never once. I will get a thank you for your comments as soon as I'm done, and that'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kazmierczak. Next up, we are going to have Ms. Carol Reed. Ms. Reed?
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Carol Reed. I'm from Macomb County. I have 4 grandchildren in your schools. These kids need to be unmasked. This is tyranny. This is the New World Order. This is socialism, and you are all muzzled now, and almost all of you have fallen for it. I don't fall for it. I know what's going on. I have a medical background of 40 years. I'm very emotional right now, so I'm going to try and calm down a little bit. When I was in 4th grade, we were scared of the atom bomb. We had to duck under our desks because the atom bomb might hit. We had to evacuate the schools. Now, when I look back at that, what good would that have done to duck under our desk with an atom bomb hitting? Nothing, nothing. But it made us conform and it made us obey. Second thing, the New World Order is real. We are living it right now. We're in Agenda 21. If you haven't done your homework, get out some books and look it up. It's in books. Read books. Get off the internet or find good sources from digital soldiers on the internet. But don't buy all this baloney. It's baloney. The Eagles just sang a song. We are all in shackles and we didn't know we had the key. It was right on that song and that hit me. We're all in shackles right now, but I know I have the key. I don't wear a mask. I have an immune system. I choose not to get the jab because it's experimental and it has aborted fetal tissue in it that will confuse your body and jack up your own immune system. So why people are wearing masks is because they want you to be muzzled. They want you to shut up. They don't want you to have an opinion, but it's coming back on these kids. An ideal front line with suicides. Front line with suicides. How much has this disrupted the kids? How many kids are going into depression because of this? How many people are on antidepressants because of this? Antidepressants cause suicide. It's not a side effect in many people, it's a cause. So I don't want these kids committing suicide. I don't want them being depressed. I want them to enjoy their life as young people. This is the only chance they're getting. And you guys need to be a good example to them and do your homework and figure out what is really going on. You don't need to be in fear of losing. You should be more, you should wear your mask so you don't get in a car accident. I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Reed, for your comments this evening. Next up, we have Joe Carr. Mr. Carr? Hi, Mr. Carr, thank you for coming this evening. Please share your
Hi.
comments.
You know, I'd like to start out a little differently because I'd like to thank some of the people that have done a lot of work to try to make this happen, even though they've had to deal with politics. Our children should not have to be hurt because of politics. This virus is 99% treatable if used the right medications. And we are gonna, a normal flu year is very close to that. But no, the government decides that they want to go ahead and put a mask on everybody. And this gentleman over here, he's right. He did some research. Fauci has come out and there's been very many things that he has been very controversial with because he's always back and forth. He doesn't have the science. If we would go by the science, it would work. Let's go by the science. Let's get with it. And you know what? Be an example. Be an example for our children and our grandchildren and for the community and for the nation. Let's let it start here. We don't have to let it go on. Let it start here, please, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carr, for your comments this evening. Next up, I have Mr. Fred, is it Ninstedt? I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Fred Ninstedt? I'm sorry? Ninstedt. Thank you for coming this evening and look forward to your comments here.
Yes, my name is Fred Neenstead. I'm a grandparent in this district. My children all went to this district. They received a great education. The people who make decisions for their education have to look at the entire picture, not just what is politically acceptable or virtual signaling for their understanding, their social circle. That would be many people who are educators think that they have to be in some sort of approval when they make a decision. Are they independently thinking or are they group thinking? Our country was founded on independence. Our children should be taught independence. They should be able to have a voice, but they don't. So we are here. Can you understand why we are angry? That's not a virtual signal for you, is it? Do you have an anger? Of course, I can't address you, right? Our anger is because too many people have lost control. They've lost free choice. It's their body and their choice. When will reason and sanity return? You, Mr. President, you can lead this. You can be an independent voice and tell the community what is going to happen with vaccinations in the fall. You can go all summer and you can identify the real value of students being vaccinated. What is the current age today for a student to be vaccinated? Is it 12 or 16? Is this something the school board is going to want to see? Young children being vaccinated with drugs that are not approved by the FDA? Who's putting these children at risk? Think really well. Think independently. Do not groupthink because your peers are following a politically correct path. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming and for your comments this evening. Okay, next up we have Ms. Genevieve Peters.
Good evening, and thank you all again for your public service. As public servants, you work for we the people. It doesn't matter whether school children are related to any community member, because we all pay taxes. No one gets away from paying taxes because we support the school regardless. That's the law. So, Mr. President, it doesn't matter whether or not people in this room have children. They support and fund your schools. We have been here now 4 weeks, laying out all of the research, laying out all of the science, laying out exactly what you apparently haven't found out by now. Masks don't work. Masks are dangerous. Masks being forced on our children is abusive. Masks filled with bacteria actually harm our children more than the minuscule chance that they may get the virus or the minuscule chance that they may spread the virus. So what you are telling the parents and the community that come here very, very upset that you are still forcing our children to mask up is that you are not listening to the constituents. And I know that there are several board members that have been on the board for many, many years. And those many, many years has apparently made you think that you have some kind of right to dictate what our children can and cannot do, and what our parents can and cannot do. But let me tell you, we are here to let you know that we will not back down, we will not stand down, and we will never give up fighting for our children. You can pretend we are not here today. You can totally block us out, make your notes, be on your phones, but we are not going away. And we are not going to forget that you just voted to keep the masks on our children when the board member, Mr. Robert W., explained very succinctly, again, what the last 3 weeks have been. Masks do not work. So what you're telling me, the families, the community members, is you don't care about our children. You don't care that their immune system is actually equipped to fight any virus, and if it's not, their parents can choose, not the Board of Education, not the school board. American children are free. That is their legacy, their heritage. But you seem to think you are in charge of that. That's tyranny. We don't like tyranny in America. We won't go for tyranny in America. So, as every speaker has continued to say,
I'm sorry, Jenny, 1 minute.
thank you.
Please continue.
Masks, thank you. Masks. Forcing our children to wear them is tyranny and abuse. And the fact that you want to push off your responsibilities, your oath to the Department of Health, which is not elected, by the way, which are bureaucrats. And if you go to their website, you will see that their information is very old. And yet you still want to keep our children in masks. Well, let me tell you, we're not going away. We're only going to get bolder and stronger and make sure that you understand that you work for we, the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peters, for your comments. Okay, next up, we have Ms. Jennifer Morori. Aurori? Ms. Jennifer Morori? I'm sorry if I butchered that name.
Hello, I am a mom of 4 children here in the Chippewa Valley Schools. This is the first time I've ever been to a board meeting, and this is the first time I'm ever speaking in a board meeting. I am a practicing registered nurse. I have had good experiences with various teachers over the years, and overall feel that our children are getting a good education here. I can appreciate the difficulties the district has faced in dealing with the pandemic over the last year. Both teachers and parents alike have been challenged. However, I wonder what metric you're waiting for to unmask the children and to return to normal activities and functions. According to the Macomb County Health Department data, the positive COVID case rate has drastically fallen. I can personally attest that hospitalizations of COVID patients in one of our local hospitals has also been reduced to single digits. This, in combination with higher natural immunity and immunity from vaccination, should give us hope that this pandemic is behind us. Waiting for a 0 case rate is unrealistic. We need to accept the fact that COVID is now a potential contagion, just like we have learned to live with influenza and the common cold. Mitigation strategies for respiratory viruses have always included good hand hygiene, being clean, a healthy diet, and staying home when you're sick. These strategies work for COVID as well. Notice that I did not include masking as a strategy. More on that in a little bit. We were all afraid of COVID last year. It was a new virus, and treating the illness proved difficult at first. I was in the hospital system, and I can attest to that. Masking seemed like a good way to return to some normal activities while still having a sense of protection from the virus. But did anyone wonder why we never masked before during other recent pandemics, like the swine flu of 2009? It was because studies have always shown that cloth and surgical masking do little to stop the spread of viral respiratory infections. On June 5th of 2020, the World Health Organization said, and I quote, "Many countries have recommended the use of fabric masks and face coverings for the general public. At the present time, the widespread use of masks by healthy people in the community setting is not yet supported by high quality or direct scientific evidence, and there are harms to consider." It goes on, Dr. Michael Osterholm of the University of Minnesota Center for Infectious Diseases documented that sweeping mask recommendations will not reduce the transmission of COVID. He said, "Our review of relevant studies indicates that cloth masks will be ineffective in preventing COVID transmission, whether worn as source control or as personal protective equipment." The doctor went on to say that only a properly fitting N95 mask, as worn by the medical professionals in the hospitals who are treating the the patients that have COVID is the only effective mask protection. So I'm going to stop here. N95 masks have to be fitted. Okay, so every mask that everybody's wearing in this room right now is not a fitted N95 mask. Your air can come out on all the sides and viral particles can get through. Okay, essentially, generalized masking makes us feel good and feel like we're protecting ourselves and others. But unfortunately, according to the data, this is a false sense of security. This is further evidenced by states like Florida, who much earlier than Michigan stopped mandating masks and didn't see a large uptick in COVID cases, even before the vaccine was available. And you had mentioned when you took the vote that you hoped that you wouldn't have to have a COVID plan next year or vote on some sort of COVID plan in the fall. And it seems that you're trying to follow some sort of mandates from the state. I would hope that this district can have a little bit more guts and they can do their own research, that they don't feel like that they have to kowtow to the state. My kids have lost so many opportunities in the last year.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just 1 minute, please.
Okay,
Continue.
sure. And I'm hoping that this fall that we can be independent and we can choose what's right for our district. In conclusion, I request that Chippewa Valley School District drop the mask mandate and allow families to decide whether or not their child should wear a mask. Dropping the mask mandate is not a risky move based on the drastically reduced overall case rates and the multiple studies that show that generalized masking is ineffective anyways. So unmask our children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments this evening. Next up, I have, is it Karen Morari? Karen?
It's Karina, actually.
Ka-
Yeah. I'm a student here at the Chippewa Valley High School, and I would really like to say, please unmask us. We all have terrible headaches at the end of each school day. We are nauseous, we can't breathe, and we're forced to wear them during gym class, which is almost impossible. Kids just take them down in the hallways. So what is the mask mandate even doing if kids are taking down the masks anyway? So we also get, we're teenagers, we get acne. It's gotten so much worse from the masks, especially right where the mask makes contact. And that's holding on to our faces for like 7 hours a day. So terrible acne. And I know it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for all of us. We don't want to stand for this. We want our freedom back. You teach us about the Constitution in schools. You teach us about the First Amendment, yet you're not letting us act upon it. Please, unmask us.
Okay, thank you, Karina, for your comments this evening. All right, next I have Miss Rita Zielinski. Rita? Excuse me, someone would like to speak here. If you'd like to speak, you can hand in a form. Okay, Ms. Zielinski, please share your comments with the board.
Thank you. In the last 18 months, we have seen a great many persons' true colors and agendas. We see parents and Americans in general standing up against the implementation of the 1619 Project, critical race theory, LGBTQ saturation, gender issues, and the intentional breakup of the traditional family structure. Through months of research, I have a much clearer picture of why these agendas were used before and the goals when implementing them. There's a definite information war taking place where censorship, cancellation of people, silencing of voices, and the lack of transparency is causing anger, divide, and an uprising with Americans. I spoke at my first ever board meeting in April to discuss censored reports of the physical and psychological effects of masks on our children. I began to see parents nationwide showing up at their own school boards with similar concerns. No good parent keeps coming back if they do not see the validity that the masks are harmful. At the end of the meeting, a comment was made by a board member that I interpreted as a subtle introduction to critical race theory methods being needed in our district. I sent a letter with concern. Prior to the following meeting, I had a short conversation with another one of you about my CRT concerns. You said you didn't know what it was and had to Google it. You said you were unaware of any discussions of it as of yet. Now we see that critical race theory is a nationwide hot topic. It's being snuck into curriculums in public and private schools. History shows us the outcomes of these theories, and they are not used to better a society, but to break it down or to take control over a population. So where is the district on teaching our children to stand up for freedoms and constitutional rights, not allowing them to be infringed upon? You have taken slings and arrows the last few months. Parents are coming together and the numbers are growing. You've listened and you respond each time with thank you for sharing your thoughts this evening. Yet there's a visible disconnect when it comes to hearing us and responding to our concerns. So tonight, I ask that you respond with a message that answers our questions. Show us that you're looking at our concerns. Tell us that you're strong enough to stand up and represent us and our children. That includes standing up to unions, political agendas, or the government if necessary. I think a follow-up message from you after each meeting would be a great step forward. Here are my concerns I would like a response to. I ask, one, that you have for your commitment not to have CRT in our district ever. With all the studies in the most recent news on masks, I'm calling for a revote, and I'm asking that at the very least you make them optional. I had requested a copy of the contract the district had with Rite Aid for vaccine drives being hosted. I wanted to see if there were incentives for coercing people's health decisions. I would think the latest information showing heart inflammation in children after vaccines, that the district would want to distance themselves, otherwise be named partly responsible for negative reactions. There have been discussions prior to the general meetings about next fall's numbers and the challenges with teachers retiring. Yet it's been brought to my attention that teachers are being incentivized to retire. So why? Why are we not planning on replacing but a few? Where is the money that should be fully staffing our schools? With that, you had the parents commit to the CVVA by May 9th. There is already a list forming of parents that chose the CVVA, but now want face-to-face. I called Friday and was told that the district and the CVVA committee was not looking at these lists anytime soon. Why? Shouldn't these lists be looked at before open enrollment? I understand that the counts are important, but May 9th was never realistic as in the current atmosphere. I signed my child up for CVVA not because I was afraid of the virus, but because of the unstable school year, the unhealthy masking, the social conditioning taking place, and the possible breakdown in our curriculum.
I'm sorry, 1 minute, Ms. Selinsky. Please continue.
I am questioning the board's intentions. If the numbers need to be adjusted, then do it. Then staff sooner than later. As we all know, the sooner you staff, the better the teachers. Transparency is key, along with communication. The board should be able to get a handle on the numbers and the teachers, or explain what is holding you back, because if this is the case, we would all probably stand with you. I call for a revote on the masks. We really do need these off our kids.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. Next up, we have, is it Kelly Rennell? Or Kelly Rennell? Hi, Ms. Rennell. Thank you for coming tonight. Please share your comments with the board.
Hi there. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm going to keep this very, very short. I'm asking you to unmask our children, or at least give them the freedom to choose whether they wear one or not. I don't feel the need to quote studies or doctors. I think that there's too much out there. So I just think it comes down to common sense at this point. These kids can go and do just about everything right now without a mask if they choose. So I see no reason whatsoever that shouldn't be the same when it comes to going to school. Just please remove the face masks. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I don't really, I could go on and on, but that's all I ask. And I ask that it's effective immediately.
Okay, thank you for your comments this evening. Next, we have Miss Monica, is it Radko? Monica Radko?
Hello, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I actually wasn't going to speak tonight because I did have the privilege to sit in a meeting with you and a few other parents to discuss our concerns, which it was a good meeting, like you said, but unfortunately I feel like it's falling on deaf ears. I have only had one supporter, which is this board member right here, who has supported us parents that are on the opposite side this entire time. And all we are asking is for a choice. We keep hearing about us disrupting the learning environment. How many times has the learning environment been disrupted this year? A ton. So what's one more time? What's one more time? Just give us parents a choice. I have a 6-year-old. I'm a new parent in this district. This group was created because of the protocols that is happening because of COVID. Like I said, I have a 3-year-old too. I'm a new parent and I keep hearing back, don't judge Chippewa Valley's year on this year. This is the only year I have to judge. This is the only year I have. I wasn't here for 5 years, 10 years. This is my only experience with Chippewa Valley. And so far it's not good. It's not. I'm asking for us parents to have a choice. There's, like you said, there are 6 days left of school. 6 days left of school. Let our kids have the choice if they want to mask or unmask. Allow them the choice. Just please allow them the choice. That's all we discussed in our meeting when we met with you. We just want a choice. And lastly, honestly, the reason why I started this group was because of the mask mandates with the 2 to 4-year-olds. My 3-year-old had attended preschool, no masks in September. There was 1 case of COVID. The whole entire Little Turtle has had 8 cases. And honestly, she remained mask free because I fought. I fought and I never put a mask on that child while all the other parents put masks on their children. I was able to do it because of a good faith reason because of the governor. My child did not have to wear a mask, and that was at Chippewa Valley Schools. You have the power to allow us the choice to take these masks off our kids. Please think of the children and stop thinking of anything else. Just the kids. The kids only. Unmask our kids. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments this evening. Next up, Miss Jennifer Dusa. Hi, welcome and thanks for coming tonight. Please just share your comments with the board.
Thank you for listening. I'm just going to be quick but personal. I have 5 kids in Chippewa Valley schools, and my oldest, who just graduated, opened Little Turtle preschool. So they're all going through. It has been very, very different. And the restrictions, my boys play sports, so it's testing and masking while they're playing lacrosse and football and all that. It's completely unrealistic. And I want normalcy for them. My 2 youngest were in 1st and 5th grade when I pulled them in November because of the flip-flop and then back to staring at a computer screen. So I pulled them and homeschooled them. They want to go back to school. They miss their teachers and their friends. So that's what I ask. Normal, unmask immediately. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your comments this evening. Next up, I have Miss Angela Gerard.
Hi. This is my first time not preparing a speech. I'll let you know which is most nerve-wracking. It's all nerve-wracking. We hate this. A lot of us hate this. but we care. We care. We, like somebody said, we wouldn't be up here time after time if we didn't believe in what we're saying. I want to just share some personal testimony I shared with a couple of you. I feel like the mask mandate has caused so much division and so much abuse. And it can change. It can change tonight. You can change it tonight. You can make sure that we have a choice. If someone believes in these masks, they are more than welcome to wear 2 of them. They are more than welcome to wear a surgical mask. They can go have it fitted. They can wear a surgical mask. I have witnessed abuse after abuse over these masks. I have pulled my 3 elementary kids. My 2nd grade son here wears glasses, as you can see. They fog up every single time he has the mask on. We had a waiver by his eye doctor. I wasn't even allowed to speak to the nurse in the district. He was told by other students and teachers that every time he would try to pull it down to see, he was gonna hurt somebody, he was gonna kill somebody, he was gonna get somebody sick. His teacher put a tape line 15 feet out from our desk and he would receive punishment if he went inside that 15 feet. He had to hold a bleach wipe in his hand every time he touched anything in the classroom. They were threatened with tighter masks if they pulled him down, and she did dole them out. Unfortunately, this teacher has been brainwashed. She's in terror over the virus. She is a good teacher. She's a good teacher. And unfortunately, she's been completely brainwashed. And I feel like that's our media, that's our everyone that has a voice to make change here. My high school daughter still is at Dakota. She gets headaches every single day, as she said. She gets lightheaded, she gets nauseated, she gets acne, she gets all of it. She is a 4.0 student. She will not stay home, even though I've given her permission to stay home every day. I think it's a total joke that they're trying to continue to inspire kids to come back, and acting like it's just lazy teenagers. That's not true. She is not lazy. I have another son who went to IAM and was a 4.0 student before all of this. And he won't go, and I won't make him. He goes maybe once in a while. There's a lot of anxiety that surrounds these masks. They are screamed at through the hall. My daughter has someone in her face every single day, yelling in her face. She has a student teacher that's made it her mission to degrade her every single day. She'll go in her face and say, I would expect this out of boys who don't know better, people who aren't smart like you, and just on and on and on and on and on. She will then sit next to her a foot from her face, sometimes a couple feet from her face, and just stare at her the entire hour so that she will not pull that mask down. It's horrible. I have a 4th grader who begged me not to take him out of school. He's very social. He did not want to leave school. He doesn't like to be homeschooled. He begged me to keep them. I was in conflict for several weeks. I had my curriculum ready and I didn't pull them at first. She made an example, I guess, of him when his mask fell below his nose several times one day. His mask was a little stretched out. Again, let's go back to the fact that I did share before, my kids are taught respect. They would never disrespect a teacher. He told me that morning that his mask was loose and I told him, just do the best you can. His teacher called him out in front of the entire class and then proceeded to call the nurse in to embarrass him in front of the entire class.
I'm sorry, one minute, Angela.
His best buddy came up to him and said, I'm so sorry, Jack. I'm so sorry. That was wrong. That was wrong what she did. And he just said, please help me not to cry. That same day, I went to pick them up and a teacher approached my car and just said, you need to tell your kids to wear their mask up over their nose until they enter your vehicle. And I told her absolutely not. And she said, well, then she's going to have to keep them away from all other children. And the next day when I came to pick them up, all 3 of them were up like they had a scarlet letter on their chest, away from all the children. I said, I will not tolerate that. I pulled them after that. I plan to pull all 5 of them next year. I have a senior next year, so you know that this is very upsetting to me. I'm pulling all 5 of them. I've trusted this district since my son was 5 years old. I've loved this district. It's devastating to watch what's happened this year. There needs to be a choice. This needs to be a freedom. We have American kids. We live in America. They need a choice. They need a choice on the vaccine. They need a choice on the mask. We should never be indoctrinating with masks, vaccines, CRT. I'm all done with it. I've uncovered so much nastiness. I'm just disgusted. So I pray, I continue to pray. That's all I know to do. I continue to pray, I continue to speak. I do appreciate that you allowed us to come and speak to you. I wish that would have happened 6 months ago. That has given me a softness towards some of you, and I appreciate that. But please keep fighting for these kids. One last thing, I feel like from the beginning, I gave a lot of grace for good teachers, good admin, good doctors, good nurses that said, we don't believe this, but we're just trying to follow. We're just trying to stay open. We're just trying to whatever, even at the church level. And I could handle it for so long. I can't tolerate it anymore. The good teachers, good nurses, good doctors, good admin, they got to start standing up for our kids and for our future, for the future of our country. I can't tolerate it anymore. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gerard, for your comments this evening. Next up, I have Mr. Terry Prince. Mr. Prince, thanks for coming tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for hearing me. I also wasn't going to speak this evening like Ms. Radko had stated, because we had the opportunity to have a meeting with a few of you earlier this week. But I have to echo her same comments that, except for one of you, it seems like we're not being heard. This country was founded on choice, whether that's the choice of freedom of religion as our First Amendment states, the right to bear arms as our Second Amendment states, or any number of other choices that we have. We have the choice to live in 50 great states. We don't need special papers or passports to go to any of them. We can travel freely between them. We have the choice to buy a house or relocate anywhere we wish within our country. We have the choice of deciding which vehicle we want to drive. If we want to buy a Chrysler or a Dodge or a Toyota or a Volkswagen or any number of dozens of other vehicles, we have a choice. We have choices at the grocery store. For a gallon of milk, you can buy Dean's or Country Pride or any other brand of milk that you want to buy. We don't have monopolies, or if we have monopolies, they're heavily regulated by the state and or federal governments. We have a choice. It's time to restore the choice of the parents for their children, for my children. I have 2 kindergartners in this district. I have a graduate from Dakota who graduated in 2019. So I'm a parent. I've been in the district for a few years. I'm planning to stay in the district for several more. But I need my choice restored for my kids and hopefully their kids when the time comes. My niece just graduated from Dakota yesterday afternoon. I asked her at her At some pictures that we took in a park last night. If she got anything out of this year, she said she hadn't learned a thing. A senior from Dakota didn't learn a thing this year. Another 4.0 student graduated summa cum laude with several other honors, was honored Thursday night at the senior awards ceremony. Didn't learn a thing. And beginning of August, we had a choice. We had a choice for CVVA or a choice for in-person. By mid-August, that choice was taken away from us. In March, we were given another choice. We could stay in school. We were back to at least 4 days a week in person at that point. We also now had a choice of live streaming. Choices are good. Our country was founded on choices. We went, again, we have a choice every time we go in our car and we go to the store. We have choices of where to visit, where to vacation. We can even choose to leave the country. That's our choice. North Koreans don't have that choice. Many Chinese don't have that choice. We have that choice. It's time for us to have the choice on how to raise our kids. And for those that choose to wear a mask, I have nothing against that choice. That's the choice of the parent. That's the choice of the child. They have that right in this country to make that choice. It's time that I have the right to make the choice for my child, whether or not they wear that mask. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prince, for your comments this evening. Next up, I have, looks like Darlene Dotel. Darlene? Thank you for coming this evening. Please share your comments with the board.
Hello, I am a parent, a grandparent, and at one time I was a student in school many, many years ago, where they taught the Constitution, love for America, and courage, how we had courage as Americans, how we stood and we fought. They taught us that we had a fear of communism and never to let it grab hold of us here, never to allow it. But some of you on that board are not only allowing it, you are endorsing it. I want to thank this gentleman over here for his courage and to stand up for his freedom. Thank you. Thank you. We will remember you at election time. And we will remember you at election time. And let me tell you, there's another battle you're going to soon have. Right now, in the works, you will soon have the battle. We not only want a choice for our children to wear a mask, we want a choice to not have our money go to you. You have indoctrinated our children. You're not worthy of our tax dollars. You are not worthy of our trust. And I want to point out something. I was in shock. When you said the Pledge of Allegiance, I was looking all over for a flag. I did not see one. Where is the flag on that stage? Where is it? There should be an American flag here and a state of Michigan flag over here. But there should be those two flags. What scares me is there a CCP flag here somewhere? I'm really worried about that because I think there is. That's all I got to say, but I want freedom. The Constitution rules. We the people rule, not you. And you're going to find that out. You do not rule. You do not make our choices. You will not dictate to our children. We will stand up. And believe me, we will win. Guaranteed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments this evening. Next up, we have Ms. Kristen Carson. Kristen Carson.
I want to say thank you for letting me speak this evening. I don't have anything prepared, but I do want to comment on the argument whether you want a surgeon performing surgery on you in a surgery room with a mask on. Comparing a mask, wearing it for children wearing it 7 hours out of their day and comparing it to a physician who's performing surgery is like apples to oranges. I'm a registered nurse. I work in pre-op, I work in recovery, I work alongside these surgeons. And the rooms that they're in are heavily oxygenated. It has way more oxygen than the content of the ambient air that we all breathe. Also, you take a 16-hour long case, that surgeon is not working for 16 straight hours. There's breaks, there's bathroom breaks, there's change of surgeon. It's not one surgeon that's doing the same surgery for 16 hours straight. I don't understand where I don't understand where our country has gone wrong. We've been taught the Declaration of Independence. We've been taught that we have unalienable rights in this country. And for the decision for my children, for the children of this district to be made by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of you it disgusts me. This isn't the way that America is supposed to be. If parents want to send their children with masks to school, we don't want to stop that. We're not saying don't do it. What we're saying is that parents that choose not to have their children wear a mask be afforded the same right as the parent that wants their children to be in a mask. That's all that we're asking. We ask for a revote immediately. We want masks off of our children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments this evening. Next up, I don't have a last name, I have a name of Diane. That's all I have. So, Diane? Hi, thanks for coming this evening. Please share your comments with the board.
Oh, good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm going to pretend like you all don't know what's going on. Okay. The survival rate of this virus, and let's call it what it is, it's a flu, has a 99.997% survival rate for children. I have 32 years in the medical field. All the masks have done was slow down herd immunity. There's been nothing but propaganda since this started, and that came from the top. The corruption, the evil that I have seen in the past year is incomprehensible. The teachers union included. Corrupt. I realize you all have to answer to somebody. I answer to God. My children, our children, all of us get our rights by God. Nobody else. We have emails from Dr. Fauci from March of 2020. Clearly states masks are really for infected people to prevent them from spreading infection to people who are not infected, rather than protecting uninfected people from acquiring infections. The typical mask you buy from the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus, which is small enough droplets. If someone coughs or sneezes on you, it goes right through there. Okay. There's also emails that states that the highest risk are the elderly. And that the elderly, per Dr. Fauci, per the CDC, per the NIH and the NEID, okay, I did my homework. I did my homework from the time this started. This is a flu. There's done nothing but fear mongering. Fear mongering. We've got a governor who goes to Florida, goes to the bar, unmasked, but she's going to tell all of us, stay home, don't go to bars, stand 6 feet. Let me tell you what stand 6 feet is. It's so they can track you. This is nothing but propaganda. To push a vaccine, if you even want to call it that, it's not even been done with clinical trials. So it's not a vaccine in the true sense of the word. It's poison, okay? It's poison. And you will not push this or anything else on our children. We will fight you every step of the way. Why? Because we can. We are Americans. And if you, all the rest of you want to answer to the communists, that's fine. We don't answer to the communists. We are America. Okay? I stand on the side of truth because come Judgment Day, we all face God. Come Judgment Day. I don't have to answer for you. I have to answer for me. I am asking you to stand on the side of truth. Get these masks off the children. There's people out there that are so fear-stricken, they don't even have this information. You won't see it on CNN. Okay? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Stand on the side of truth. Get these masks off these kids. And I'm going to educate you on the Spanish flu. They didn't die of the Spanish flu. They died of a bacterial pneumonia due to wearing masks. Amen. Learn your history. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments this evening. Next up, we have Mr. Roy, or is it Ray? Ray or Roy Wilson? Mr. Wilson, thank you for coming this evening. Please share your comments with the board.
All right. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'll keep this short. I think 3 or 4 meetings ago, I asked if the board could come up with some statistics for kindergarten and first grade from 18-19 school year compared to this one. And we set up here, everybody, you have a mask on. It's hard to see you. I would like to see the board respond to a legitimate question. What's the difference between the 18-19 school year, the results of the children in the kindergarten and first grade? That's really the other thing. And a voice vote, I would like to see a show of hand votes against Robert's question on the mask. We can't see who votes. Is it possible to get a show of hands on that vote, so we can see who votes for whom on the removing the mask for the remaining school year? That's all I got. I mean, everybody's hiding behind a mask. Let's have a show of hands. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments this evening. One last slip here from Mr. Kabaczynski. Thanks for coming this evening. Please share your comments with the board.
Sir, my name is Eddie Kabaczynski. I'm a Warren City Councilman. I apologize for being late, but I had a council meeting this evening. I also happen to be a retired military police corporal. This mask here that I'm holding in my hand is an M17 nuclear, nerve, blood, biological, and chemical mask. I had to wear this exact mask during the Gulf War in 1990 to 1991. I can tell you what life is like having to wear a mask 24/7, even in your sleep. And you're having to worry about Scud missiles, bombs, mortar rounds, and people shooting at you. I can tell you, you don't keep your breakfast down, okay? And wearing one of these masks here, sneezing into it, coughing into it, I can tell you 3M, who made these charcoal filters for these masks here, got sued for it because it didn't protect anybody. I can tell you if this doesn't protect it, and the military bought a lot of these for a lot of soldiers, this facial diaper isn't going to do anything for anybody. It says so right on the box. This mask here, which I'm going to pull out and show you, I had to have this on within 30 seconds. It was part of a whole biosuit that I had to have on from head to toe, including chemical boots. I want you to see this. Can you imagine your kids, yourselves, having to live life wearing one of these because you had to worry about some toxin that's in the air that's going to kill you or your children? Is life worth living if you have to wear this all the time? That's a legitimate question that each and every one of you should be asking yourselves. As the only duly elected conservative, locally elected official in Macomb County, I have been ridiculed because I have been calling out this lunacy with wearing this mask, with wearing any mask. This isn't Halloween. That ended in October. This is absolutely ridiculous. If you're worried about a virus, the best thing you should do is go to church and pray that you don't get it, because God is going to ultimately decide who lives and who dies, not a virus. I've been trying to explain this to the liberal leftist constituents that I have to deal with in the city of Warren. Let me tell you, as a conservative living in Warren, it's not easy. I'm speaking also as a business owner. I recently moved my business from Harper Woods here to Clinton Township. I love doing business in Clinton Township. I get a lot of customers, and I readily advertise that my store is open to maskless individuals, and I invite them in with open arms. You can come in my store and you can shop maskless, and I'm not going to harass you. It's your choice. You want to wear a facial diaper, wear a facial diaper. If you don't want to do it, then don't do it. But indoctrinating these kids with CRT, critical race theory, the 1619 project, and saying masks are the solution? No, God is your solution. Prayer is your solution. And believing in our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, and our Bill of Rights, I have already swore to uphold, defend, and support 3 times in my life. As a soldier, as a police officer, and then also as a duly elected official now in Warren, Michigan. I can tell you, I can speak on upholding, defending, and supporting the Constitution of the United States of America. And if you continue on with this mask mandate, which is totally unconstitutional, there's nothing in our Constitution, nothing in our Declaration of Independence, and nothing in our Bill of Rights that says this is law. I don't know if you teach civics here. I don't go to school here. I went to military school. We learned about life and we learned about death. This year didn't protect me. This isn't going to protect any one of you or anybody else. Take my word for it. I have scar lung tissue because this didn't work. I was recently hospitalized in a VA hospital because I got a lung infection.
1 minute, please. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Please continue.
I'm just trying to warn you that this year didn't work. This isn't going to work. And you're doing a disservice to these kids. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes from the community for the evening. Again, I know it's a very emotional thing, and we certainly really appreciate everybody being civil and letting everybody talk. And we appreciate you taking the time to share your concerns with our board here this evening. So you're very respectful. Mr. Wait, do you want to make an amendment? Do you want to try to make an amendment?
I can't even. Take it.
Yeah, we have to amend the agenda to do that, and we can't do that while you're yelling. Okay, that's how it works here. Is there interest in amending the agenda to bring this up for a vote?
I guess, can I ask a clarification question? The COVID learning plan that we voted on doesn't mention math. So am I wrong? Because when I'm reading it, it's about whether or not they're going in person or virtual. And it says that both are offered, but it has nothing about masks. Is that correct?
The COVID learning plan is about our instructional model. It is not about mask wearing.
Okay, thank you.
It's not about safety protocols.
So we were voting on basically keeping the instructional learning plan as is with kids going in person in school and having the virtual option available and
That
the
is-
CVBA
That is correct.
for all schools.
Okay.
So there is no revote of anything.
Well, we'd have to amend the agenda and add a new motion in for that. So that's how it works, folks. I mean, that's the bylaws, it's our policy here. That was the same. So we could vote to amend it, but I don't hear a motion right now to amend the agenda by this board.
Frank, I'll put forward the same thing. I want to put forward a motion to amend the agenda to vote on masks, making masks a choice.
Okay, all right. So there's a motion to amend the agenda. That'll be the first part. Is there support?
Yeah, I'll support it.
Supported by Mr. Migzek. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Pyden.
Amendment, yes.
Yes. No.
It was me.
No.
No. That's correct. The motion to amend does not pass, so we're going to move on. Okay, all right. Okay, we've got our parents here in our district have business that we have to control here. We've talked to this mask. We've let you speak to us about it. Let's be fair here. Let's be adults. You don't have to yell at us, okay? Our community is counting on us to get business done here, but you folks are interrupting. We've spoke to this, we voted on this, we've not passed it. All right. Do you want to? Amend? Okay. All right, we're going to move on to H, union communication. Nothing for tonight. I, administration. Ron, any administration reports tonight?
Yes, I do have an administration report this evening. Yesterday, as I mentioned earlier, we graduated 1,250 seniors from 3 different high schools. And I would just like to commend our administrators. This is our second year of doing our commencements outdoors on our own football fields. And it takes a great amount of skill and patience to put together the commencement exercise. And I would like to congratulate and thank our building administrators. And that's the end of my administrator report.
He's done with this thing. Let's move on.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving
so
on to curriculum updates.
There are none.
None tonight.
There are none, I don't think.
There are no curriculum updates this evening.
Also, okay, item K, oven by board members. Anything from the board?
What'd you say? I'm not going to say anything, believe me. I trust me, I
Anybody
want
from the
to.
board? Oven by the board? No. Huh?
Beth, you want to
Beth?
say something?
And Ron may have covered this, but unfortunately, I was unable to hear him despite sitting next to him.
Speak louder, Beth.
Yes, my mic is on.
Move to executive.
Well, all I wanted to do was, I just wanted to thank everyone who made our graduation celebrations yesterday lovely. And they really did a lot for our kids.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to thank our many retirees.
Yes.
I got to see your work in the classroom, both as a student and as a board member. And I know that you know that I have the utmost respect for the work that you do, and that you have taught me an awful lot, and I know that you have taught our children just as much.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because you're talking.
Moving on to item L. Item L is going to be executive session. So can I have a motion to go into executive session for negotiations?
I'll move.
Moved by Dr. Andriasco,
Yeah.
Support.
supported by Ms. Aquino.
Okay, and a roll call vote.
Okay. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Pyden.
Dr. Andriashko.
Yes.
Ms. Aquino.
Yes.
Mr. Bednar.
Yes.
Sit up and go.
Mr. Mink-Zek. Mr. Mink-Zek.
Yes. She says yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Vojtovich.
He says yes.
He said yes.
And myself, yes. And we are going into executive session at 8:43.
Okay, let's
Okay, very good. We're back in open session at 10:40, following our executive session. One note, I made a mistake. I did not excuse Mr. Sobal from this evening. He had fire obligations. He could not make it tonight, so he is excused from our meeting for this evening. And with that, if there's nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll support.
Moved by Ms. Pyden, supported by Dr. Andriasco. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting ends. We'll make it
Yay.
10:40 also for the adjournment.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and we will see you on the 21st.